They said kindness was dead, but that night, in a dusty roadside bar filled with leather jackets, roaring laughter, and the smell of beer and fried onions, one small act of humanity made even the toughest men in the room fall silent. No one expected a biker to rip a waitress's shirt, and no one could have imagined what happened next. Hey there, before we dive into this powerful story, make sure to subscribe to your channel name, where we share real and inspiring stories that touch hearts and remind us that kindness still exists in this world. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video. Your support helps us keep spreading these stories that matter. It was late on a Friday night in a small town just outside Nashville, Tennessee. The Iron Rooster Bar was buzzing with its usual crowd of truckers, travelers, and bikers. The jukebox played old country songs while a neon sign flickered in the corner. Fighting to stay alive, behind the counter was Jenny, a 27-year-old waitress who worked double shifts just to pay for her little boy's school fees. Her smile could light up the dullest night, but lately, it had grown tired, forced, even. Life had been heavy, and tonight was no exception. The bar doors swung open with a loud creak. In walked a group of 5 bikers, big, rough-looking men dressed in black leather. The room grew quieter for a moment, the kind of silence that comes when people aren't sure what's about to happen. Their leader, a tall, bearded man with cold eyes and a deep scar running down his cheek, walked to the counter. His name was Mac, a man who'd seen too many fights, too many empty bottles, and too many miles of regret whiskey. "Make it strong," he said, his voice deep and rough like gravel. Jenny nodded, her hands trembling slightly as she poured the drink. Mac noticed but didn't say a word. He'd seen fear before, he knew what it looked like. As the night rolled on, laughter got louder, the music wilder, and the air thicker with cigarette smoke. Jenny moved from table to table, cleaning up, serving drinks, and pretending not to hear the crude jokes thrown her way. Then it happened. One of the bikers, a heavy-set guy named Tank, called out, "Hey sweetheart. You missed a spot." When Jenny turned around, he reached out, grabbed her sleeve, and in one sudden motion, ripped her shirt. The bar went silent, every head turned. The jukebox seemed to choke mid-song. Jenny froze, her face turning pale, tears filling her eyes as she tried to cover herself, but before anyone could react, before a single person could speak, Max stood up. His chair scraped against the wooden floor as he rose. The sound echoed through the bar like thunder. He walked slowly toward Tank, his boots heavy with each step. Without a word, Mac grabbed the man by the collar and slammed him against the wall. "You think that's funny?" he growled, his voice low but sharp enough to cut glass. Tank stammered, "Hey, I was just..." "Apologize," Mac interrupted. The bar was dead silent. Tank looked confused, humiliated, but he finally muttered, "Sorry." But Mac didn't let go. His eyes stayed locked on Jenny's face. That's when he saw it, not anger, not hate, but fear. The kind of fear that told a story of someone who'd been hurt too many times before. Mac slowly loosened his grip on Tank, but instead of sitting down, he did something that froze the entire bar. He took off his own leather jacket, a jacket covered in patches, scars, and memories, and gently placed it over Jenny's shoulders. The room stayed still. No one said a word. Jenny's lip trembled as she whispered, "Thank you." Mac nodded, then turned toward his crew and said, "We're leaving. Right now." They didn't argue. They just followed him out the door. Jenny stood there, holding the jacket tight around her shoulders. For the first time in a long while, she felt safe. The next night, the bar was quieter. The regulars talked in low voices about what had happened. Some said Mac used to be a soldier. Others said he'd done time. But no one really knew the truth. Jenny folded the leather jacket carefully and placed it behind the counter, hoping Mac might come back for it. A few days later, he did. It was early afternoon. The bar was empty except for Jenny, who was restocking napkins. When the door creaked open, she looked up and saw him standing there. "You left this," she said, holding up the jacket. He nodded but didn't take it right away. "You keep it," he said quietly. Jenny frowned. "I can't. It's yours." Mac sighed, rubbing his beard. "That jacket's been through a lot. Fights, storms, mistakes. But last week, it finally did something good. Let it stay where it belongs." Jenny didn't know what to say. Her eyes glistened as she whispered, "Why did you help me that night?" Mac looked at her for a long moment before answering. "Because once, someone helped me when I didn't deserve it. Guess I owed the world a favor." He turned to leave, but Jenny stopped him. "Wait, you want a coffee? It's on the house." He smiled, a small, tired smile, and nodded. They sat together that afternoon, Two people from completely different worlds, sharing quiet conversation over black coffee and stories about life. Mac told her about his time on the road, the mistakes he'd made, the people he'd lost. Jenny shared stories about her son, about how hard it was raising him alone, and how some nights she wondered if anyone still cared. By the time he left, the world outside had turned golden with sunset light. From that day forward, Mac came by the Iron Rooster bar every few days, never drinking much, just sitting quietly in the corner, always leaving a generous tip. He never flirted, never crossed a line, just looked out for her. Like a guardian made of leather and scars, the other bikers never returned. Word travels fast in those circles. No one wanted to cross Mac again. Months passed. Jenny managed to save enough money to move into a better apartment. Her son, Eli, started doing better in school. One evening, she told Mac, "You know, I don't think you realize how much your kindness changed things." Mac shrugged. "Didn't do much." Jenny smiled. "You did enough." Then one night, Mac didn't show up. Nor the next. A week later, Jenny found a small envelope tucked under the bar door. Inside was a note that read, "Jenny, life's taking me down another road, you and your boy keep smiling, the world needs more of that. M." And folded with the note was a $100 bill and a small metal pin, the kind bikers wear on their jackets. It was shaped like an angel's wing. Jenny held it close to her heart. Tears fell, but they weren't the sad kind this time. They were grateful. She framed the note and pinned the angel wing on the bar wall right above where Mac used to sit. Customers would often ask about it, and she'd smile and say, "That's a reminder that kindness can come from the unlikeliest souls." Years later, Jenny's bar became known around town not just for its food or music, but for the warmth people felt when they walked through the door. She trained her staff to treat every customer, no matter who they were, with the same respect and kindness she'd been shown, and every time she saw someone struggling, she'd say softly, "You never know what battles people are fighting. Be kind anyway." Because kindness doesn't need a reason. Sometimes, it just needs a moment, one brave, human moment, to change everything. If this story touched your heart, remember, kindness costs nothing, but it can mean everything. So go out there today and make someone's world a little brighter. This is your channel name, where stories remind us that humanity still shines even in the darkest corners. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories that move your heart and restore your faith in goodness. And remember, sometimes, the toughest hearts hide the gentlest souls.